This is Nick.
This is Jack.
And this is Snacks Daily. We're excited to be live at NASDAQ for a very particular reason.
We're here with Tom Cortese, COO and co-founder of Peloton. Tom, can you tell us what we're doing here?
Well, we are here today for Peloton's debut on the NASDAQ as a publicly traded company.
Big day. The IPO happened today. May we ask, how did you start your day? Was it with a workout?
Unfortunately, today I had to start my day doing whatever the NASDAQ folks told me to do. But
Okay, full disclosure, I got a 15-minute, 80s style ride in on a Peloton this morning.
Well, the stock is trading now. This is Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
We noticed the first thing was ticker symbol.
Yep.
We're kind of fans of creative ticker symbols. Feel like there was a bit of a missed opportunity with Pelotons.
Seems like, all right, so we took the name Peloton, we shortened it to PTON, just took out some vowels.
Cut out a vowel, squeezed it into 4 letters.
What was the creativity? Was there anything else behind the process? What do you guys consider?
oh my goodness, of all the things that we have to consider on a daily basis, I think you've heard about all the different businesses that we build into one. This was just one where we didn't feel like it required a lot of our time, attention, and energy, and there were a few options out there, and this was the one we chose, and we just ran with it.
We're
Yeah,
thinking
what
about
are you
side
thinking?
hustling as ticker symbol consultants.
Jack and I whiteboarded, we had ideas, we were like spin, bike,
Flock, FLOK.
absolutely. These are other options
Race.
later on if
I
you
do
get the
like Flock.
opportunity.
I do like Flock.
Okay, by the way,
The other are too limiting.
favorite spin class on Peloton?
Oh man, as I said to you guys before, this is my family.
Yep.
All of these instructors are my favorite instructors, and Alex Toussaint has a very particularly special way of motivating me, so I can go there. Robin's been with us for so long. Jen Sherman is like a morning talk show for me. So depending on my mood, that's the beautiful thing. I can kind of pick and choose.
They're all your babies. We get it. That's fine.
So, Tom, you founded Peloton with 4 of your buddies and business partners back in 2012. Back then, can you tell us, how were you making elevator pitches to invest in the company?
Oh man, we were terrible at it. We were trying to explain, look, we're going to convert this entire industry that is this destination industry where folks are going to the gym, going to these boutiques. Oh, and we're going to take group classes and make them happen in the comfort, convenience, and privacy of your home. And people were just like, what are you talking about? So we were just terrible at it, but we kept on building, and we kept creating prototype after prototype to be able to showcase what it was. Yoni, our CTO, even dubbed in as an instructor a couple times before we had instructors, so that we can showcase. Look, this is how it'll work. And slowly but surely, we were able to convert people where it clicked, and they said, if you could make that work, I'd buy one, and if I'd buy one, I think there are a lot of folks who would too.
So today you have a stationary bike that looks beautiful. It's got kind of an iPad screen where you can stream classes and take a spin class at the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, not only an iPad screen with all the touch that happens to be way bigger than an iPad screen, but you also have to be able to sweat all over it, and it still works. So at every
simple idea, SWET, sweat.
Take it.
Not bad, not bad.
So Tom, that's how the company began. That's how you're pitching it. How would you describe the company now, fast forwarding 7, 8 years?
Well, now what I say is, this has been the longest proof of concept ever. 8 years in the making to prove to folks that you can move this entire industry to a new place. Like we were talking about before, arcades of the 70s and 80s are gone, replaced by a better experience in your home through Xbox and PlayStation. Right? Movie theaters are closing. Netflix is on the rise, or Disney Plus. We see the gym, the destination sport of the gym, where incentives are not aligned. Right? You join a gym in January, they pray you never come. You join Peloton, I have armies of people whose job it is to make you feel more motivated every single day than you were before. That's our mission. That's what we do. We serve our members. We started with bike with the proof of concept. You're gonna see us go a lot further.
So then, Tom, what industry would you say defines Peloton? How do you place this into something?
I mean, ultimately, it's health, wellness, and fitness, right? And we're using media technology. We're using community, logistics, apparel, all of these pieces to be able to fuel that and create something that people truly want, that people can become truly engaged with.
So Peloton stock is available starting today.
Yep.
And Anytime you're thinking about investing in a company that recently IPO'd, we always tell our snackers you should check out the S1 document.
Literally, when we heard Peloton was IPOing like a month ago, that's the first place Jack and I went.
We compare it to like a dating profile,
Yep.
but you have to say the good and the bad about yourself so that the person on the other side has a full picture before investing. One thing we noticed in Peloton's S1 was the churn rate. To borrow a quote from Seinfeld, it's real and it's fantastic. Tell us, what is the churn rate and how is it so good at Peloton?
I mean, like we've had to pinch ourselves about this churn rate over the 5 years that we've been in market, and it's just it is truly remarkable.
What does it mean, a churn rate?
Oh, so it means that when you start paying for your Peloton subscription, you don't stop. All right, and the reason why you don't stop is because you find value in it, right? Because you use it. As a matter of fact, and this is also in our S1, enjoy the read, you see that actually people in our service use Peloton more year over year, not less. And that just goes against most trends in fitness, most trends in subscription businesses.
If you were spending 3 days per week your first year, you're spending 4 days per week your second year with Peloton?
That's right. I think we're showing now, on average, Peloton bike members are riding nearly 12 times a month.
So we saw that the average churn rate over the past year is 0.6%. So every quarter you have 99.6% of the Pelotonistas, as we call them, still subscribing to Peloton. We calculated that means the average user is going to have a 13-year subscriber life. Is that insane? I mean, the company hasn't been around that long.
I mean, yeah. So you can make those lifetime value calculations and do those predictions. We're not in the prediction business. We're in the business of waking up every single day and figuring out how to further engage our members. Because if we can keep them engaged, they're going to feel better. They're going to feel good about their investment, and they're going to stick with us. We intend to keep on doing that day over day.
So that's what we noticed in the S1 that kind of stood out for Jack and I. It was like, how do we look at the individual Pelotonista and determine what their value is for the company? But on a broader level, the other thing we talked about is, Jack and I always like to say this, which is the fad is bad, but the trend is your friend. And in this case, we're talking about fitness equipment, which has an experience with either being a trend or fad.
Well, you look at Bowflex with like Chuck Norris and the Total Gym, or was Chuck Norris the Total Gym?
He was like always working out at 3 a.m. kind
My mom got a Nordic track in the 90s. It's been in our attic for 20 years.
It doesn't move, you only go one direction.
So what is Peloton thinking about like avoiding a fad, and how are you going to stay fresh and cool?
Guys, I just have such a hard time with this one, because how on earth could it possibly be that health, wellness, and fitness is a fad? It's actually a component of life that is a requirement, right? And so, what this is about finding a way to engage folks in a necessary behavior, a daily necessary behavior, in a way that they enjoy and they love. I cannot tell you in more ways that it is 100% the case that we have proven that we can do that. And we will continue to prove that we can do that, because that is where we stay focused.
So then this brings up another key point from the S1. So when Jack and I were scrolling through this thing, one thing we noticed was the term democratize. So I believe it said Peloton is democratizing access to boutique fitness. Big question there. Democratizing, but also you look at the price of a Peloton.
Let's quickly tell the snackers the price.
Exactly.
Like a little over $2,000 for the bike and a little over $4,000 for the tread.
And then after that, you're paying a monthly subscription of like $39 a month.
Is it possible to democratize something so expensive?
Let's try it this way. The average American, just looking at the U.S., the average American couple is paying well over $100 to belong to a shitty gym. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry.
We won't censor.
The average American is paying over $100 to belong to a gym. It's inconvenient. Incentives aren't aligned. It's expensive. You don't have access to great instructors. When you do get access to equipment, it's probably old equipment that 50 people earlier that they sweated on. That's the experience that you can have going to the gym. Peloton financed for 39 months, 0% APR, is $58 a month. Layer on the subscription at $39 a month for the entire household, right, across. And you get access to cycling, boot camp, indoor running, outdoor running, yoga, meditation, stretching, strength training, and whatever else we start building. That is remarkable value, and that's just the beginning of us democratizing fitness.
So then, Tom, that brings up the next question, which I think one of our snackers sent in, David. Yes, exactly, which is, all right, let's think bigger picture here. Would you guys be taking kind of a Tesla approach where you introduce the higher end model, that gets all the brand attention, gets people excited, it's sexy, but then you start offering models at a cheaper price so you can really access that market? Because I see what you're saying, over time how the value's there, but up front, that's where people are paying out of pocket quickly.
And again, our first shot at removing the pain of upfront is to take on that burden of 0% APR. So there's no upfront cost. You get into Peloton for just $58 a month. That's the only payment on the equipment. So we've completely removed that barrier. That's step one. We think that there are a number of other steps that we can take across different categories to continue to find new ways to bring lots of people into the Peloton membership.
So you started Peloton in 2012 with 4 other people. And today is totally a highlight. I mean, you got a party this evening?
We've got a party this evening.
Really
yes.
excited about that.
And then back to work tomorrow.
We know where it is, but we're not going to tell anyone.
Can you tell us about a low light? What was a big F up that happened that you guys look back on and hopefully laugh about, maybe cry about?
Look, it was a really tough first 8 years. What's actually crazy is it's 8 years of perseverance to get to this starting line. Right, as I said, this was like one giant proof of concept, and now we're going to go blow this up across the globe, across multiple fitness.
Hill climb.
One giant hill climb.
Yeah.
And so there were moments where funding was dry, where uncertainty was there. There are just personal moments where you have to wake up. That morning and remember that you've got to walk in and you've got to keep the team motivated, even though you've been on the slog for so long. That stuff is hard. But we knew from the moment we created that first prototype, when we started putting people on it, we knew that lights were going off. We knew that people were getting engaged. We knew that there was a there, and we just had to keep driving.
Tom, I got to ask a little further on that one. You talk to entrepreneurs. Jack and I are co-founders ourselves, having started a company together. And you talk about that climb, that building, the highs, the lows. But is there one that kind of sticks out to you in particular where you're like, a high?
You just hit him with the lows.
That's true. Let's go with something positive. And you can't talk about the IPO. Let's do something before this.
It's so funny looking back.
Yeah.
There were so many moments that felt like highs, and I look back and I'm like, really? That wasn't that big of a deal. We sold 188 bikes through Kickstarter. We thought we were champions of the world.
188?
188.
And I wonder who has those bikes now.
We opened our first store as a pop-up in the Short Hills Mall, which is a suburb of New Jersey. Me and my co-founders stood there on Black Friday with the only 6 bikes that we had ever made in the world, standing in that showroom,
Oh my God.
telling people what an amazing product and service was going to be. And
Was there any duct tape?
I think we got somewhere between like 4 and 11 people to buy that day.
Yeah.
We must have gone out and had the biggest party, right? So
Yeah.
in those moments, we thought we were on it. Looking back, man, those were small moments.
Those round numbers. When you hit a round number with anything, it's pretty simple.
And 188 is not a round number.
No, that's a good one. We'll round up.
The IPO, this is a big moment personally for you, for your coworkers. I mean, you have pieces of paper that say Peloton Inc. stock. Until today, you couldn't do too much with it, but after today or some lockup period, you might be able to sell. That's a nice moment. You guys can kind of celebrate. What does this mean for you and your coworkers?
Look, for us, I feel like this is so typical Peloton. It's like, okay, today we IPO'd, tomorrow we're back to building. The road ahead is still this monster for us. We see this massive opportunity. We know it's there. We know what we're building. We know the race worth winning is still the race that we're in. So I think we're excited that this is done, that this milestone is over. We've got the capital to go and execute on our plan. Tomorrow we're back to work, maybe a little late.
There you go. Speaking of your plan, one of our snackers sent in a question.
We had a few of them, actually couple people
Sarah?
asked about this. We had Sarah Forney and Ian Wheeler ask about this in particular for you.
What's the next product? And what do we have so far? We got the bike and the tread.
And we'd like to point out, Fitbit just mentioned last week it's interested in selling itself.
Fitness is available.
Are you interested?
Wow, that's a bunch of questions all in one. No, we are not going to be announcing our new product on your show today.
Okay.
Yes, we have remarkably talented folks who are constantly working to try and understand what could be next, and that's about all I could give there.
Have you ever thought of a bike that would be a generator that powers the studio and the building in the city?
Right, a snacker. Alex Milanowski asked us that.
It was actually one of the early ideas before we started Peloton. But
Renewable energy at its best.
we decided to focus on engaging experiences that excite people. To the extent that becomes something one day down the line, we'd look at it.
So Tom, after every Snacks episode, Jack and I end it where I ask Jack, what's the takeaway for our snackers here? So we got to ask you now. Tom, what is the takeaway for Peloton for our snackers to know?
What is the takeaway for Peloton?
Yeah.
This is a remarkable business. We're changing an entire industry, and we're doing two amazing things for that industry. We're changing the way people think about fitness. It becomes fun and engaging and convenient, and we're changing where it happens. It's no longer this destination sport where incentives are misaligned, and we are excited as hell to keep on building.
Tom, congratulations on your IPO.
I think we burned 300 calories during this interview. Can we track that?
Yeah. Thank you for being on Snacks Daily. Snackers, for more, you can sign up for our free newsletter and our free podcast at snacks.robinhood.com.
Have a great one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you both.
Thanks, Tom.
Awesome.